Well, good morning YouTube. It's a beautiful day, can't go wrong. But today, I've got a confession to make. The Africa Twin is no more. The Africa Twin had to go. You saw the video of the Hard Knot Pass. That made me realise that what with my frozen shoulders and the fact I'm a short arse, that bike was just too top heavy for me. I loved it, don't get me wrong, I loved it, but it was just too top heavy for me. And there's no excuses, I bought the wrong bike, really. Loved it, when I was riding it was fantastic. When I had to move it around, man, that hurt. And after the Hard Knot Pass incident, which you've all seen by now, I realised that, yeah, she had to go. I continued to ride the Africa Twin for a little while, and I just happened to be out with the editor-in-chief one day. We were up by BMW Motorrad. We went in and I saw a bike in the corner. I'd done a bit of research on the bikes anyway, because I was looking for something smaller, as in height wise, but not much in torque wise, and I wanted the same sort of performance. So we went up there, saw it, and I arranged a test ride for a few days later with a friend of mine. Natalie at BMW Motorrad was excellent. She basically let me have the bike for 3-4 hours. I put 15 quid worth of fuel in it and basically used it. And in that time we did a bit of everything, a bit of B road, bit of A road, a bit of B road, bit of A road, bit of motorway, bit of dual carriageway and some town work basically. We went out for 3 hours and I ran with a bloke who was riding an RT at the time, and bike was good, can't lie, bike was good. Motorway speeds, fine. A and B roads, fantastic. Turns in lovely, did everything. Similar torque, well not, obviously there's different horsepower between the two bikes, but in that mid-range where you're in third and fourth, was lovely, responded lovely. Town work, I noticed a difference 100% straight away. I wasn't having to look for where I could put my feet down, where there was a low point in the tarmac, or anything like that. Well, that's nice in front, look. That's a VW beach buggy. So yeah, had a word when we got back after our 3 hours, and we came to a deal, which meant that the Africa Twin was going. I'd spent a lot of money on Africa Twin actually. I'd had a few bits done to it and stuff like that, but it was getting to the point where it was putting me off riding. 2 weeks later, I picked up this. Now this is a BMW 750 GS. At the minute, I cannot fault it. It's done everything I want it to do. It's done Scotland, it's done Wales, it's done lots of places. And I've had it now for, well, 6,000 miles. And I didn't want to put a review of the bike up until I'd done mileage. I hate those reviews that take a bike out for an hour and then they tell you it's a good bike or a bad bike. So I wanted to make sure that I knew this bike. At this point, it's done nothing wrong. It's had its 6,000 mile service. I put it through that. There was nothing wrong with that. Just the chain needed a quick tighten, which isn't a big deal. I bought a maintenance contract with BMW when I bought the bike, and they did it for me, so I didn't have to worry about it. It's no longer standard. Well, it is standard engine wise and exhaust wise, but it's got a few things on it that I've put on it. So what do I think? It's a great little bike. I've got all the same tech as this is the TE model. I've got all the tech that the big GSs have. The only thing I haven't got is cruise control. Yeah, that's the only thing I haven't got, and the up and down suspension. I've got the modes. I've got Enduro mode, Dynamic Pro, road, rain, blah 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 and all that sort of stuff, but I haven't got the ESA suspension stuff. Well, I have got ESA, but I haven't got the bit where it rides up and it adjusts itself if you've got a pulley or not on. So that's the only two things I haven't got. It's performed lovely. It performs as well as the Africa Twin, even though it's down on power. It's actually an 850 lump in here, it's not a 750 lump, so it's an 853, the same as in the 850 Adventure. It's just slightly, I think it's a couple of horsepower down, but the torque's in a different place, so it performs as well, if not better, as the Africa Twin, to be fair. Apart from the fact this is a good 8 inches lower, and because of that it's also not top heavy. The screen when you get the bike, even though it was a demo by X-Demo, is rubbish. It has a little bikini screen on it, which is about so tall there. Pointless. I bought this Kappa screen, which was good, but on motorway speeds I was getting head bubble. So I bought the little, is it a mirror thing on top, which actually cost more than the screen itself, because Kappa's made by Givi, but it's under a different brand name. The top box, that you can't see but you will see later, came with the bike, part of the deal. I don't bother with panniers because I never carry a pillion. We now have a tank ring on for an Oxford tank bag. Bark busters I've put on it, proper ones, not the Africa Twin version of bark busters, which are just plastic and fell off. I've put SW Motec engine bars on it, which are good. I haven't dropped the bike yet, so I don't know. And the main reason why I haven't dropped the bike yet is I can flat foot this bike without having any adjustment to the bike at all. I'm flat footed, no issue. On the Africa Twin I was balls to more tippy toes, but if there was a slight camber I was tippy toed, because I'm only 5'8". So that gives you the size of this bike. I'm 5'8" and I can flat foot it. I don't know what my inseam is, never measured it. What else I've done to it? Oh, Denelli spotlights I had put on. Now they're expensive. Blimey, by the time you buy the canvas and all that, they work out expensive. But I like spotlights on a bike. I've only got the D2s because obviously it's a smaller bike than the Africa Twin, and they had the D4s on. They would have looked ridiculous on this bike, so I've gone for the D2s. It just means I'm more visible to anybody else. And they do that flashy thing when you've got hazards on, so when you're filtering, that's quite cool. One other thing I've put on it, I put Wonderlutch bar risers on it. Because of my frozen shoulder, I was getting some pain in my shoulder when riding after a couple of hours. So I put those on, and they make a hell of a difference. It's so much more comfier and more relaxed. Standing up is easier. Not that I'm an off-road bloke, and this bike technically is not for an off-road bike, but we do go down the odd gravelly lane every now and again. Yeah, they've improved the bike a lot. It changed the steering geometry a little bit. I don't know how, but it has a little bit. Maybe it's because the bars are nearer. I'm actually counter steering better. I'm not at a stretch anymore like I was before. I've obviously transferred over my quad lock, which I've done a short video on, which you'll get soon hopefully. So bike improvements are screen, bark busters, engine bars, spotlights. If this one goes, because I always thought about a big GS, I don't think I need one. As long as they keep this style of bike, I think I might just upgrade to the newer version of this one, whatever that might be. So in a minute I'll get off the bike and I'll do a very quick walk around. Excuse the bike, it's absolutely minging. I've just been to Wales for a few days and it hasn't been cleaned yet, and I'm off again soon. So here she is. This is my new bike. The awesome, as far as I'm concerned, GS 750, or the F750 Sport. So, should we have a look around, see what I've done? Twin discs on the front, with Brembo calipers. Nice little beak on her. I bought myself a little headlight protector because they're expensive. Kappa screen with a, I've never learned how to spell, it's mirror. Never learned how to pronounce that word properly. SW Motec engine bars. And there's my Denelli D2s. I could have mounted them up here, but I want to use that for where I can mount a camera because I can see it. There's my Airhawk seat that I've had on the last 3 bikes I've ever had. There's a rock trap trying to escape. The BMW top box, the expandable version. And up here I've transferred obviously my quad lock over, which just plugs into the USB, so I've got USB and a DIN on it. Obviously we have our bark busters that I fitted. If you have got one of these, you must use the 2 spacers. People say you don't need to. you need the 2 spacers, and then obviously the tank ring. Rear end, obviously we've got chain drive. This one does have a quick shifter, an auto blipper, and we have single disc on the back with another Brembo caliper. I think it's an 18 litre tank, 17 or something like that. Get me 220 miles. That's as far as I want to go. LED lights all round, obviously. The exhaust is an exhaust. Doesn't sound brilliant. It's a complete do-it-all bike. It will take you touring, take you commuting. It'll do everything you want, I think. It will tackle a bit of off-roading. I wouldn't... It's got an enduro mode, but obviously I'd hate to break it. But no, it's a good bike. I like it a lot. So let's go whiz down Cheddar Gorge. And you'll see in a minute, as it's a nice day, Cheddar Gorge becomes a car park. And there we go. A car park. I'm glad I got the baby GS, because I can still fit through places where the big GS won't go. My mate's just bought an Adventure actually. Beast of a bike, absolute beast of a bike, and 100% he's a man with a build for a GS Adventure. I am not. I don't have that stature. I don't have that height, because somebody nicked my legs, or 6 inches off them anyway. Obviously they put that 6 inches elsewhere, around the middle. Thanks for that. Well, on the motorway, the little 750 GS performs very well. I'm doing just about the speed limit. The bike is very, very stable. A little bit buzzy through the foot pegs, nothing through the bars really. I can't tell you how it rides with the OEM screen on it, because as you can see I've put a touring screen and a Vario on top, because I found wind buffeting is really annoying, so I put that so the wind comes right over my head. But otherwise, she trundles along. There's good acceleration in top gear, so you can get out of the way if you need to. Very comfortable. The mirrors don't vibrate at all, they're very clear, and I can see probably 85–90% of what's behind me before I see a little bit of my arm, so that's pretty good. But so far on the motorway, she's very good, and she's more stable than my Triumph Tiger I had. And I can't notice the difference in power between the Africa Twin and this bike. So B-Rose, absolutely fantastic. We haven't had really had a chance to open her up yet. We've done a little bit, but not a great deal. But the fueling seems really good. I've kept it in dynamic the whole time. I haven't bothered with the other modes, because rain is rain, as you know, good for pilly, but there's no engine braking, so if you rely on engine braking, don't stick it in rain, because it will not stop. And road is just like normal, but dynamic is definitely where the fun's to be had. Stick it in third and fourth between 5,000 and 6,000 revs, and it comes alive really, and performs fantastically. It tells you, it's got a gear indicator that tells you to go out through the gears all the time, which is a little bit irritating. There's probably a way to turn that off, but I don't know where that is. And obviously you've got the integrated sat-nav in your helmet, which I'm not using today because I've got somebody on following today, which is quite nice. She's up there leading the way, but all the information is really clear. The TFT is amazing. I have got a Screen Angel, I think it is, screensaver on there, but everything else is running really smooth. So so far so good, and very comfortable. I know I've got the Airhawk seat on that I took off the Africa Twin, but we all deserve a little bit of luxury. So far, she's proving to be a very good little bike.